And I'm going to call the Land Use Committee meeting to order. Our first business would be to have a motion to allow Chairman Dillon and Member Rosenbaum to attend by phone. Member Blair, Member Williams. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Member Rosenbaum and Chairman Dillon can enter the meeting by phone. As you know, we don't have minutes from the last meeting because we're a little bit behind in that, but we'll move right to the reports. Tri-County Regional Planning Commission minutes. Are there any questions or comments on those minutes? No. Unsafe structures. Any comments or questions about unsafe structures? Okay. And the development summary. Are there any comments or questions about the development summary? Okay, then I would move to receive and file those three reports. Moving on to our zoning cases. The first is ZBA case 2024-0027, petition of Holly Hayden. Do I have a motion? Member Blair, and a second, Member Williams. All right.
Thank you.
Andrew.
Our first case is a special use request for an event center in the A2 Ag Zoning District. The petitioner requests to construct a 4,800 square foot building with outdoor patio space to host events for a maximum of 200 people. They are proposing to primarily operate on Saturdays and Sundays from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Music, entertainment, and noise would be confined to inside the building. 0 consents and 0 objections are on file. This subject parcel is located at 8214 North Dwyer Street in Kickapoo Township, which is immediately south of the Peter Rabbit Daycare facility. The nearest dwelling to the proposed event center would be approximately 35 feet from the property line. This is owned by relatives of the petitioner. There is a transitional buffer yard consisting of landscaping, which would shield the use from that adjacent residential property. Music would be confined to inside the building. The petition states the development will share a community well with the Peter Rabbit Daycare, so the hours that well is in use will not conflict with one another. However, they will install a new private septic system. It will be accessed from North Dwyer Street. There's an existing driveway at the corner of West Knox Street and North Dwyer Street that will be used for access via a 27-foot easement. The land use form of this property is agriculture. This request is consistent with Peoria County Smart Growth Principle number 2, which states that new residential, commercial, and industrial growth is located in areas within or adjacent to areas of existing development. The proposed event center would be adjacent to existing development in the unincorporated community of Kickapoo. Staff did recommend approval with 2 restrictions, the first being the recording of the proposed easement, and the second being hours of operation may not extend past 11 p.m. The Zoning Board of Appeals recommended approval with the same restrictions, 6-0.
Thank you. I would like to do one thing as the chairman's prerogative, and that is, before we vote on this, to move the public comment before we look at these 3 zoning cases. And I would call upon our attorney, Greg, to explain what the parameters are legally of those public comments. Greg.
Thank you.
Is the little light?
There we go. Yeah, just before we vote here, by way of reminder, the decision of this committee on this matter must be based solely on the facts and evidence that were found and developed at the ZBA hearing on this case. So, there's going to be some public comment, and there, will be a lot of opinions expressed here. But I just want to reiterate this aspect before we hear the public comment that's followed by a vote. Your decision is limited to the facts and evidence that was found and developed at the ZBA hearing below. Thank you.
And we'll take public comment on all three of the zoning cases that are coming before us today. But remember, you cannot add anything to the record that was not stated at the Zoning Board of Appeals, and that is a very important point. So, is there anyone who would like to make public comment about any of these three zoning cases? All right, seeing none, then we will move to the vote on case 2024-0027. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye. Motion
is carried. All right, the next case is 2024-0034. Petition of JM 901 Ventures, Inc. Do I have a motion to consider this case? Member Blair, Member Ruland.
Thank you. This is also a special use request for an event center in the A2 Agricultural Zoning District. The subject parcel is located at 6417 North Smith Road in Rosefield Township. The subject parcel was the location of the Kickapoo Creek Winery, which closed in December of 2021 after operating at the subject property since at least 2004. The petitioner currently owns an event center in downtown Peoria and is looking to expand her business. This proposal would be for a maximum of 250 people. The proposed hours of operation are 8 a.m. to midnight, Monday through Sunday. The music, entertainment, and noise would mostly be confined to inside the building. However, there is a gazebo and lawn area that would be utilized for some functions. The petitioner has indicated music will cease at 11:59 p.m. The parcel is zoned A2 Ag. It currently includes a tenant-occupied single-family dwelling, as well as a main building that will be used for the event center, several barns, a covered pavilion, as well as outdoor space. The adjacent parcel to the north is zoned Ag 2 and contains a single-family dwelling and ag uses. Parcels adjacent to the south and west are also zoned A2 and consist of row crop, agriculture, and timber. To the east, across North Smith Road, is the Red Oak Estates Section 4 subdivision. 3 parcels containing single-family dwellings are immediately adjacent. These houses were built between 1975 and 1985. Measurements show that the nearest single-family dwelling across Smith Road is approximately 95 feet from the subject property line and approximately 385 feet from the main event building. The petition states the proposed development will utilize an existing well and an existing septic. The health department has commented that a valid food license would be required. Additionally, the operation will require a liquor license from the Peoria County Clerk. The proposed parcel has frontage on North Smith Road, which is a Kickapoo Township street. The 2017 traffic map shows an average of 750 daily vehicle trips along this road. As the previous use existed in 2017, and the proposal is to operate in a similar capacity, it is expected that the vehicle trip count should remain relatively similar. Smart Growth Principle 6 from the Comprehensive Land Use Plan states that abandoned or underutilized commercial buildings are redeveloped to accommodate new, modern, and mixed uses. As stated, this was the former Kickapoo Creek Winery, and the petitioner intends to utilize the property's existing buildings. There are 0 consents and 22 objections on file. I did distribute a copy of those objections to each of the members here. But the 3 main points were hours of operation near a residential neighborhood, noise level limitations in the late evening, and litter from attendees. Staff recommended approval with the restrictions that the hours of operation may not extend past 1 a.m. and that overnight accommodations may not be offered on site as part of the event center use. The Zoning Board of Appeals recommended approval with those same restrictions 6-0.
Okay, are there questions?
I do have some questions.
For
Member
Andrew.
Andrew, I'll ask you specifically, based on your tenure here and the 17 years of operation of Kickapoo Creek Winery. First of all, is the operation that's described for this zoning case similar to the uses of the Kickapoo Creek facility?
The notable difference is that the petitioner is not proposing to operate the vineyard and tasting room. However, the Kickapoo Creek Winery did operate events out of that building, luncheons, weddings, various functions. The petitioner is proposing to continue those types of operations or reinstate those types of operations at this location.
And second question, are you aware of, during the 17 years that Kickapoo Creek operated there, were there ongoing or repeated complaints about noise and other unwelcome activity in the neighborhood due to their operation?
Our department, Planning and Zoning, or my department, has no record of any historical complaints against that property.
Okay, thank you.
How long has Kickapoo Creek Winery been closed?
It is my understanding that they closed in 2021 with limited operation prior to that during the COVID time frame.
Member Windisch.
Did the winery have to do any of this?
So the winery fell into a different classification. When the winery first opened, we did not have the event center use. If you recall, it was about 2 or 3 years ago that Planning and Zoning put forward an amendment specifically for event centers based on the popularity. There's a number of them in other areas of Peoria County as a whole. The winery fell under the Agricultural Experiences Act, the state of Illinois defines, because they initially started growing grapes there and then distilling wine. It started as that type of operation, expanded to a tasting room, expanded to a restaurant, and then ultimately they were doing weddings and events with the pretense that everything was based around the winery itself. So they fell into a different classification, one at the state level, and then two based on the use groups that the county had under its Unified Development Ordinance.
Are there other questions? All right, then we will vote. All those in favor of approving this, say aye.
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 And all those who disagree, say nay. The motion is carried. We'll go on to ZBA case 2024-0037, petition of Matt Longcourt.
Thank you. This is a special use request for a major home occupation in the A1 Ag Preservation Zoning District. There are actually 3 requests as part of this. The first is for that major home occupation when the lot is less than 5 acres. The second is so that the use may occupy more than 1,000 square feet of an accessory structure. And the third is that vehicles may exceed a gross vehicle weight of 8,000 pounds. In this situation, the parcel is 4.99 acres. They are proposing to construct a 2,700 square foot accessory structure to park a 17,000 pound semi-trailer truck and 2 trailers weighing approximately 20,000 pounds each. Longcore Trucking currently operates from this location, hauling propane and ammonia, although no propane or ammonia would be stored at the property. There are 0 consents and 0 objections on file. The parcel is located at 9917 West Street Meadow Road in Akron Township. The surrounding parcels are all also zoned A1 Ag Preservation. Land use to the north, south, and east is row crop agriculture. To the west is a section of the Rock Island Trail. That trail is buffered by timber on both sides. The petition states that the parcel is served by an existing private septic system and public water. The future land use form in the Peoria County Comprehensive Land Use Plan designates this area as ag preservation, which allows for ag uses and ag-related businesses. As the business hauls agricultural products in the form of propane and ammonia for customers, this is consistent with the Peoria County Comprehensive Land Use Plan. Staff recommended approval with two restrictions. One, that if the resident changes or the operation ceases for a year or longer, the special use is null and void, and that also it must be renewed on an annual basis per the home occupation guidelines identified in our Unified Development Ordinance. The Zoning Board of Appeals recommended approval 6-0 with those same restrictions.
Do I have a motion for this? I don't think I did a motion. Member Blair, is there a second? Member Rulon. All right, are there questions? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of this case, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Is there any miscellaneous that any board member has? All right, then we are adjourned.